Hello and welcome to the Unspoken podcast, your one-stop space for deep, unfiltered conversation about sexual, reproductive, and family health. Here, we break the silence on issues left unsaid and challenge the norms that shape our lives. Brought to you by the Free Tribe Network, a non-profit dedicated in driving impact in these areas through programs, projects, and research. Today is special because we are celebrating World Science Day for Peace and Development. I am joined by the beautiful goodness. We all remember her.
Hey.
And we will be exploring some incredible scientific breakthroughs that are not just reshaping the health sector but our lives. This year's theme is Building Trust, which is why the title of this podcast is Building Trust in Science, Transforming Wellness, which perfectly aligns with our mission to create open dialogues about health and wellness. So before we start, because this episode we are just going to be bringing up some news, some latest news in the science world, tech world that have to do with our health and our society in whole, because it's shaping our life. So we're going to talk about some news that just came up, and we're going to talk about how it's going to affect us or how it's going to transform the way we see things or the way we do things. But before we start all those things, I need to ask this question. Goodness, like, science, has it done more good than bad?
Okay. I would say science have done a lot of good. Yeah, because there are a lot of technologies that we use now that have made our lives way easy, or I say easier, right? Like our phones, you get like the appliances we use at home and stuff. So there are a lot of things that thankfully we're no longer using camels as means of transportation. Just imagine it.
I think it's cool to use camels, except for the fact that it's going to hurt your lower parts of the body, but it's still cool.
It's still cool.
Yes, nah. Do you know how expensive those things are? They're for the rich.
So what happens to
cars?
What happens to the unrich?
They use their leg now, just like now we still use our legs.
Amazing. Okay, so but I would say that science has done a lot of good. However, there have been some ills that has come with those good. A lot, right? You can't even count them because everyone has a story or the other. Either you're battling low attention span because of your addiction to your phone and social media, right? The same social media that helps people to increase awareness of their business, of what, like amplify whatever one is doing, right? Some other people, the effect is that they have low attention span. They can't maintain maybe eye contact or something educative. They can't maintain their attention. Maybe they are watching a course or something without flipping over to just let me quickly check what's buzzing on the internet, on social media and all. Do you get? So I would say that science has done a whole lot of good as well as negatives, but I won't be able to say if one is
the good outweigh the bad.
I wouldn't be able to say that. It depends on who we are observing or who we are speaking of, the item we are talking about. Do you guess? Like generally, I can't say because it's person specific. For me, I wouldn't say it has had a lot of negatives for me, but the society, I would say it has had a lot of negatives. If I would say, yeah, the society, it has had a lot of negatives. You see young people, children, yes, we know that children, infants, their attention span is low, but now it seems like it's lower in my own observation. because when they are watching something, the next moment they want to check something else, they are distracted and all that. So I would say these are just the impact of wrong use. Yeah.
All right. That reminds me of a research I watched some years ago, actually. So this particular scientist, which I cannot remember his name, was talking about. He was asked the question, the benefits of technology, like, is technology really beneficial to us in the long run? So he was like, the advantage of technology, like the tech that has been brought about and that has had huge advantage on us, is not the ones that are popular. Like now, the most popular technology we know about are the telecommunication technologies, but they are not the only technology we have. We have the transportation technology, we have the electricity technology, we have the storage of information technology, and the technology that has brought the highest benefits, like the highest benefit that led to other technological advancements and people seeing different possibility, is the steam engine technology. Yeah, the steam engine technology brought the highest advantage to the world when it came out, and it paved way to other possibilities than the telecommunication technology. I don't want to go into the details of how the steam technology actually helped the society and the world at large and brought about new possibility, because that's not what this podcast is.
Yeah.
But the main point is that people are focused on the telecommunication technology. And the telecommunication technology is not the only technology we have. Like now, people do not know that copy and paste is a technological innovation. It is. And the person that discovered it died few months ago. And what he did changed people's life forever. Changed people's life. Like imagine the world without copy and paste. You see, so people are focused on the internet technology than the other technology that has improved our life. And we are going to be talking about all those other technology that is going to improve our life in the long run as we continue with this podcast. So let me quickly go to my second question. Outside healthcare and just technology in whole, do we really need new technology? Like outside the healthcare sector, we need new tech for a lot of things in diseases, health treatments that we need technology for in the health sector. But outside that, do we need new technology? Can we handle new technology?
Well, I feel like there are a lot of technologies that have been misused already, right? And there are a lot that have not been fully maximized. So, in my opinion, I would say that before we start thinking of new technology, let's look back. Let's just circle down and see, okay, what we have we maximized it? Are we using it to full potential? If we are not, because I know that there are a whole lot that we are not using up to full capacity. Those we are not, how can we use it to the best level of usage, right? Then the ones that we are misusing, just like telecommunication now, that is as if there is this rave all over telecommunication. Even see a young child, like, when did I get a phone? I got a phone when I was in SS3.
Wow.
Yes. So you see a child of primary school and the child is asking for
iPhone.
An iPhone. I'm saying that the phone I got was not an Android phone.
Oh, touchlight.
Oh yes.
Oh, that's nice.
Yes, that you press and you tilt, stuff like that. So I'm like, if we can bring back
simplicity.
modesty to use, or let's channel use it properly, appropriately. There are things that could be used and not, let's not mismanage resources in that sense, right? So if we can manage telecommunications well, we would, in my opinion, we'll have a lot of people that will be able to invent and reinvent things, because telecommunication on its own is a major distraction.
It is actually.
It's a major distraction. So back to the question. So let's circle down and see, what do we have that we are not using well, right? Let's begin to give proper perspective to it and use properly. And the ones that we have not come to full capacity of use, then let's use that before we start advancing into much more technologies, except if you're speaking of technologies that is to cater to aspects, sectors that have not been explored at all, right? But in my opinion, let's work with what we have and make it work, right?
Yeah.
Then we now advance with it. Thank you.
I thank you so very much.
You're welcome.
For that. That's amazing. I show you cap. So let's go to our first news now. This one, when it came out, I was like, really? Egypt declared malaria free by WHO.
Amazing. Nigeria next.
Exactly, Nigeria next. That's what I was thinking, like malaria free. So Egypt has been officially declared malaria free by the World Health Organization. Egypt recently joined Morocco and the UAE as a malaria-free nation in the Western Mediterranean region. This designation marks a milestone after a decade of concerted public health efforts, setting a regional example of what is possible with effective malaria control and prevention programs.
Nice one, Egypt.
Like
nice one, Egypt.
Wow,
amazing.
When this news first came out, because I saw it on CNN, the question that was asked is, will Egypt extend this program to the rest of Africa? And in the rest of Africa, are we going to adapt this program? So I was like, let's hope Egypt is generous enough to actually, do you know what? Let us be generous. Let us help our brothers and sisters. Let us be very generous. So what do you think? Before I go to the details of what this program is, what do you think about this?
It's a very nice one, because malaria is one thing that Africa have suffered. Africa, my dear Africa. Right now, I just want to write a poem for Africa. But seriously, malaria has been like a major ordeal of Africa, because see, Nigeria, we know that our continent is majorly a continent of developing countries, and is associated with maybe dilapidated buildings or infrastructure, or will I say developing infrastructure. Sorry, my usage.
We have good architecture.
Actually. No, we do. It's just poor maintenance.
True.
Poor maintenance is one factor that has really plagued us, right? And so yeah, malaria has been a major thing for Africa. So if one of our brothers, or do I say sister, if Egypt has been able to hack this, amazing. It's a good one for Africa, and I'm just hoping that there is room for collaboration where they can be able to bring other African nations into this great milestone. Yes. So it's not just a thing of first position, let me carry first, stuff like that. And do you get, we know that we have someone that has hacked this, and now the person is willing to share, and although there's one thing for you to be willing to share, and another thing for people you want to share with to be receptive.
Exactly.
Because let me just point an incident I heard of, that there is a major road in Lagos, right, that a particular person, or will I say institution, wanted to work on and make very motorable.
All right.
Right, but they were fined in that sense. Like they were told that they had to pay a huge sum for this institution, right, to be able to give us good food.
Wow.
So I'm like, it's one thing for you to want to help someone. It's another thing for the person to be so blinded with greed, and refuse such help. So good one, Egypt. Good one.
Those are in Egypt. We are hoping that you extend the arm of friendship and brotherhood or sisterhood to
whichever
us, because malaria is like one
malaria
of the
in the hood,
top 5 illness or disease that kills millions of Africans.
High mortality rate.
And not just children, we're talking about pregnant women too. Pregnant women also suffer from malaria, and a lot of them, I don't know the statistics per se, but I know that a measurable amount of pregnant women die during pregnancy due to malaria. And babies born with malaria have severe issues, severe illness, and a lot of them die from this. And having malaria, like imagine if all countries in Africa, or at least key countries in Africa, have malaria
free. Oh my God.
Imagine Nigeria being malaria free. The amount of children that would be able to save from a disease that is treatable.
It's treatable. Like it doesn't make sense.
It is very sad to see the amount of babies and pregnant women that die from just having malaria. And now we can just prevent it. And especially with the malaria vaccine that has just been released to Africa. Like imagine bringing this Egypt program and the malaria vaccine together for everything to work together. It's just going to be amazing, and we'll be able to save a lot of lives. So let's go to our next, because this is already getting tense. Let's go to our next news, which is the Nobel Prize winner in medicine. So, okay, we all know the Nobel Prize. Now, this is what I want to point out. Before I talk about the news, I want to point out something. The person that founded the Nobel Prize program, the Nobel Prize, was the person that discovered gunpowder. So he discovered it for mining, but then it was used for guns, and he did not want to be remembered that way. So he thought about something he could create that people would not remember him for causing murders. So he brought about the Nobel Prize. He spent all his money into that to award groundbreaking discoveries in science and in different sectors, literature, science, many other sectors that even some of us do not know. So up to the next news. Nobel Prize in Medicine for microRNA discovery. We are shifting our focus to this year's Nobel Prize in Physiology and Medicine went to Victor and Gary for their discovery of microRNAs. Now, microRNAs are proteins in our genes, in our cell. We are talking about tiny of tinies here. So, now these two brainiacs were doing a biological study in worms a decade ago, like this is not even a new discovery, like
recent.
like it's decade, but it's just now like the potential of it has been found.
Right.
So there's this tiny pieces of genetic material called the microRNA, and they began to unravel their roles in influencing expression in gene cells. So right now we have different cells. We have cells in the brain, cells in the lungs, cells in the stomach. They are all cells, but they are significantly different.
Yeah.
But the way they are formed is basically the same way. They are produced the same way. So there's this question of how is it that the same process of production, like we have, like how a mother gives birth to, the same way, but we're having different children.
Oh, okay.
Like different looks, different builds, different physique, different personalities. So the same thing with cells. Like how are they having, how are they so different but being produced the same way? So this discovery found that okay, this microRNA, this genetic material is what changes their the cells
expression, the different
expressions. Yes, it influences the cell, and it's basically how all those things happen is what you eat. So what you eat causes different proteins, like will give different proteins different food. Should I say food? Like they get different food. So when you eat fish, so in that fish, in that fish, the nutrients of that fish is the different particles.
So fish is animal protein, like
no, like just that? The fish itself, like the different nutrients you get from the fish.
From fish.
Now, like some genes will take like the vitamin A more than they take the vitamin.
Oh, okay.
So they found out that it's this that is regulating what you eat. Like what you eat, it regulates those things that gives the cells its expression. I'm hoping I'm getting this right, because I've read this, I've watched the video explaining it, and I've read it over and over again to like understand. I'm not a genetics student. I studied physics, please, but this is not so far from where I am.
Okay.
But this is what controls, should I say controls, or what makes them change, put them in different positions. Like, oh, as this one is being produced, oh, you go to the brain, oh, you go to the lungs, oh, you go to the butt, different places. So
well, I say that's the reason why that there's rapid growth at in some organs.
Yes,
and there is
it's this
minimal growth in some organs.
So this genetic material influences those kind of things.
Okay.
So now the potential of it is that, like, if we can understand this genetic material better, we'll know how cancer is being brought about, and probably we'll be able to change it. So that is the potential of this. That is why it's so important that we can help prevent some genetic illnesses, genetic diseases, or even normal diseases, if we can understand this a little bit better. So that is why this won the Nobel Prize, because of the potential of it. Though it is not exactly a new study, but it's just like it just went boom. So what do you think about this?
So the potential of this particular discovery is massive. And why do I say that? You've mentioned something about it helping us to be able to treat cancer.
Yes.
Before it's
you can tell this cell might become cancerous
with time, or you can detect certain things.
Yes.
Which is that's why I said it is massive.
Yeah.
Right? Because anything that affects life, anything that can influence life in its best state, right, is something that we should give attention to. Something we should look deep into.
Yeah.
So kudos to Gary and
Gray.
Okay, I said Gary.
It's
SpongeBob.
Gray.
Victor and Gray.
Yes.
Yeah, kudos to them. That was a very good one. So but I would want to know if this discovery, if it's something that is available to every
for now this
setup.
this is just like this is this could work.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just speculations.
Not speculation. Like, we have the data, we can see the possibilities. We have seen this play out in many organisms. Like, the study was first on a worm, and now we can see it in humans.
Okay.
So because we can see this, and if we just understand it better, we can be able to stop these things, or prevent these things, or treat these things. That is what this is all about.
Oh, nice. So with this discovery, we know that, okay, we can now transfer this data that we have, transfer it into something more workable, where we can detect that, okay, this and this and this.
This is what causes cancer. So we can.
So there is now hope for certain illnesses. If I would say, there's now hope for certain illnesses to be detected early.
Yes.
Before
time.
That's an amazing one.
Not just detected early before time, but
treated.
Yes, prevented before time, and later on treated. Because if we can understand the genetics at which cancerous cells comes to be, we can prevent and treat. That is what this research is opening up to.
It's very massive. Because we notice there are some people that maybe it's just something just happens. Let me not make it vague. The person might just slump.
Oh yes.
And
yes,
it's when they rush the person to the hospital that you find out that, okay, this and this has been growing in this person's body for a very long time.
So one of the potential of this study is that we'll be able to tell if there will be other kind of growth. Cancer is not the only growth in the body. We still have fibroid and few other growths. So it's going to tell us about other anomalies in the body, and if we are able to understand better, we'll be able to detect it before time, and then we'll be able to save a lot of lives.
Nice one. Good. To science. Science has, like I said, it has done a lot of good.
If we cover our eyes to telecommunication part a bit.
Yeah, we should just.
Yes. Though it's telecommunication we're using right now. So
hello,
we love you, telecommunications. Well, we're still going just a little bit. So our next news is a new method of refrigeration called the ionocaloric cooling. This is an eco-friendly way to refrigerate things. We are talking about vaccine storage and transportation. Unlike traditional cooling system, it avoids harmful refrigerants and instead uses ions to manage temperature change. Cooling might seem unrelated to our usual topic because we are talking about sexual health and family wellness, but this is quite important in the healthcare factor, that we don't need to use the normal refrigeration for our sensitive medicine and organs, and just use this ionic cooling to keep things preserved and taken to the place it needs. Just imagine if someone in Kenya, in the most remote place in Kenya, needs an organ, and the donor is in Nigeria. With this method of cooling, we can transport this organ all the way to Kenya without using the traditional method that could alter the chemical, or should I say biological makeup of the organ, because it's traveling a long distance. And this is not just let's say something is wrong and they can't go by flight all throughout. They have to stop and take car and take road transportation. So let's say from the nearest airport to that place is like a 2 days journey. So this particular method of cooling keeps this refrigerated, keeps this in a preserved state and ready for use. So what do you think about this?
So it's a very good system of cooling,
and it's
if I w-
eco-friendly.
and it's eco-friendly,
Yeah.
right? So the fact that you might not need to be liable to the impact of gas,
Yes.
because if you want to use the normal refrigeration,
Yeah, you have to use the chemicals, the gases used for refrigeration.
you get, so like, because those things, to an extent, I feel it has impact on those things, on the items in some way, no matter how little.
Okay, so let's bring it home to our normal refrigerators at
Okay.
home. So we use, I've forgotten the name of this gas we use in our refrigerators. That's, most refrigerators use this gas because it is less poisonous. It naturally does not have any smell, but a particular chemical has been added to it to give it a smell when it's leaking. So you know when it's leaking. But in many cases, the gas leaks into the refrigerator. So it is cooling the stuff you have in the fridge, but it's also infusing the gas into that thing. So if we change our method of refrigeration, we will not need that kind of harmful effects. Okay, so this new method of refrigeration regulates the thermostate of the material. That is, we are not cooling it down with gases, we are just changing its ionic state from being hot to being cold. So it is used in vaccine. You know, vaccines are stored in all this cold refrigeration, cooling units.
Vaccines, medicines,
yes,
like organs for transplant and
yes.
all.
So imagine, instead of using those cooling systems, we are using this method of refrigeration. It just cuts off having to change its chemical composition using these gases.
Okay, but I want to ask if this system of cooling, if it's less expensive compared to the usual one. So I understand that, yes, it's eco-friendly.
Yes, it is.
Which is good.
Yes.
But if it being eco-friendly and it is way expensive, don't you think it's going to have a negative impact on the prices of drugs? I mean, like medicines, and all medical procedures that would be impacted by this new system.
Yes, it would have impact if this method isn't there's one thing about it being eco-friendly and it's being sustainable, because sustainable have to be affordable and also eco-friendly. So well, this is just a new discovery, a new innovation. So at the long run, we'll see if it is, should I say, commercialized, because now the potential is that we are taking out the traditional way of refrigerating and bringing this new way to refrigerate stuff, not just in the healthcare factor. Imagine if it's now in homes. So we are trying to conserve family health with the healthcare sector and family health at home using this method. Okay. So we will wait and see how far or how well this is going
turns out.
Yes.
I mean, that thing is, I think it's a very good substitute for the present technology that we are using, because in a place where there is shortage of gas,
yes,
right, we can be able to switch into this.
That's
right?
Depending if this is sustainable, that is affordable.
Yeah, if it's affordable.
My question is, with this method of refrigeration, is it even sustainable for cold water?
Cold water.
Anna, like, do we need to change the ionic state of water to have cold water?
To have cold water?
Yes.
if it doesn't have any health impacts, then I think.
But this is mainly for the health sector. That this new way of refrigeration is going to bring vaccine unaltered to remote places in its best condition. So kudos technology.
A very good one. Is a very smart idea, right? And a good substitute for the present technologies that we are using for preservation of medications, for transportation of organs, and all that. Is a very good one. Yeah, thank you.
All right, so let's go to our next news. Okay, so I've been seeing this news since middle of this year actually. So It's not like a recent thing, but it's actually quite a notable thing, which is MRI scan could replace invasive tests in predicting heart failure. New study finds.
Wow.
So let me just read what I have here. Researchers from the University of East Anglia and Queen Mary University of London have discovered that MRI scan can reliably estimate pressures inside the heart, potentially replacing invasive tests used to predict heart failure risks. By analyzing data from over 39,000 UK biobank participants, the study identified key risk factors for increased heart pressure leading to heart failure, being over 70, high blood pressure, obesity, alcohol consumption, and male gender. So it's
rampant.
These are the key factors of that leads to heart failure, which is being over 70, high blood pressure,
obesity, or in the male gender.
It's being in the male gender, and alcohol consumption. The MRI-derived pressure measurements were found to correlate with a 5-fold increased risk of heart failure for over 6 years, allowing for early diagnosis and preventive care.
Okay.
This breakthrough could transform heart failure prediction and treatment, enabling non-invasive, life-saving assessment through advanced imaging technology. So imagine that we could just use an MRI scan to tell you that in 6 years you might have heart failure.
The person might please okay, so but I get the narration, how it so the MRI scan helps to detect that in 6 years there is something building up within the male gender or a particular person, that in 6 years the person is liable to having heart failure.
So there are key factors that tells point out if somebody is going to have heart failure or not, which is what's listed: being over 70, obesity, alcohol consumption, and the male gender, and one other I can't remember right now. So what the MRI scan does is that we put this risk factor in mind when testing. There's this testing done for people that to check about heart failure, and it takes time, because it's not just something you do once. You keep going. Your blood pressure has to be checked regularly. It has to be tabulated. It has to be watched, and then the data will come out that there are irregularities here, there. It's not that I will do it today, I will do it next tomorrow. No, you do it 3 times a day for weeks. So, and there are other tests that is being done, but the MRI will tell you that there's increase in heart pressure here, and the imaging and all other tests that have to do with the MRI tells you that, okay, this person has a high potential of having heart failure if this person continues like this. So it's a groundbreaking discovery because of the potential. Like, we can avoid that long process, and before you even get to the conclusion, the person will probably have an heart attack already. So we can avoid that long process and just like, oh, with just one scan, yeah, you need to watch.
Do you remember, sorry to cut you, sure. Do you remember there's a particular news of a civil servant that I think he went for to get his, what's this thing they call, pension?
Yes.
Right, and you know this thing that happens when they go for pension and all, and the man slumped. He was a lecturer in OAE.
All right.
The man slumped and died. And was he a lecturer in OAE or last week? But I know one of the universities, right? It's a recent one, maybe last year or so. But I know it's recent, right? So if there has been this diagnosis early enough, right? There are some things that you cut down on. If it's your diet, you start watching your diet. If it's maybe your activities, you shouldn't exact so much of effort. You should not get yourself to a place of suspense where your mind is all stuff like that. But you can prevent it, and a lot of loved ones that have been lost to heart failure, they would have still been around and things like that. So I feel like this will really be of help, especially in a place like our country.
Exactly.
Especially in Nigeria.
Because we have there was this health conference I went to, medical conference I went to, and the heart specialist that came, he's a professor, and he has been in that field for over 20 years. So he said he's still treating people, and he's quite old already, like very old. He's still treating people, and he said that now they are dealing with cases of kids of 10 years having serious heart conditions. Like, how is that possible? That the amounts of people that die from heart diseases in Nigeria, unfortunately, we don't have statistics in this. Pregnant women that go through heart, pregnancy, a lot of pregnant women experience elevated heart
palpitations.
Have their blood pressure increase during pregnancy. I have a family friend that also went through it. She had high blood pressure during pregnancy, and I've heard of a lot of pregnant women that have experienced high blood pressure during pregnancy. So if an MRI scan can just warn that, okay, you are having this, when you are pregnant, you might experience this, would prevent a whole lot of death during childbirth.
Very true.
Yes, we would have
low mortality rates
when it comes to blood pressure. We need to have good statistics of this heart-related stuff, heart failure related stuff in Nigeria. We don't have good statistics, and it's not good.
That's a different.
It's a different thing.
It's a different conversation entirely.
It's a different conversation. But imagine if, like, with just one scan, we can save a 10-year-old child 5 years ago. It just brings a whole lot of possibilities into check. Like, this is an amazing find. An amazing find. And if this can be established, we will save a lot of lives. A lot of lives. Yeah. So kudos to the researchers that found this, and you guys just keep being amazing, because this is amazing.
Yeah, it sure is.
This is amazing. It's going to change the family health sector a lot if we can prevent someone's father from slumbing in the middle of the road.
And the child doesn't have to go into parent mode early enough so as to fend for the younger ones. Exactly. Because they lost the father or the parent.
So this is just amazing. So now to the next news. So this news is on AR and VR being utilized to improve mental health, and that is mental health diagnosis and psychological illness treatment. That is treating psychological illnesses and improving mental health awareness, diagnosing and treatment. So a lot of people have mixed feelings about using AI, and that is artificial intelligence and virtual reality for mental health, because a lot of mental health has been attributed to advancements in technology, especially telecommunication technology, with the use of AI, especially the news you brought up about the boy whose parents is suing a tech company AI because of character AI. So it's a bit of this has mixed feeling for a lot of people, but still, we still have researchers and activists that are trying to improve AI and VR to utilize it to improve the mental health sector. That is, we're just chatting with an AI. You like talking about your day, your how you feel, what you're feeling, when you feel it. It diagnoses you. It keeps those information and builds it up and diagnoses you that okay, probably you just have anxiety,
or you should see a therapist.
This AI and VR are connected to specific treatment centers. That is, they are not just on their own, they are connected to specific treatment centers. I do not want to start reading them right now. So they are connected to these treatment centers and specialists that work with them. They don't just work on their own, somebody have to monitor them. So we are talking about using virtual reality. Virtual reality is used in the way that the patients would wear the goggles, and it would give you different scenarios and monitor how you react,
your reaction
to those scenarios, helping to improve treatment and diagnosing a patient correctly. What do you think about this?
Very good. I think like the character AI that I spoke to you about, that the mom of a minor had to sue them. I think the downside to it was that I don't think it was affiliated with any center, any institution.
Most likely.
Right? 1, 2, the guidelines of maybe you have to be a major, like when I mean major, you have to be an adult, 18 years above, for you to be able to use this. And there could have been some pop-up of helplines, help centers, right? When the boy was chatting with the chatbot that he feels like he wants to involve himself in self-harm and all, right? So that I don't think they really thought out that plan through. So that was the fault of that platform. But if this is well organized, well planned out, affiliated with people that actually cater to this set of people, you get what I mean?
Yes,
right?
I do.
If that is in place, I feel it would be a very good one. It will reduce the number of the crowd in the hospital, in quotes, right? It should reduce it, because you know that okay, there are other. What is technology? It's just putting science in practice,
yes,
in such a way that life is easier, right? So if you can chat with a chatbot and correctly, or to an extent, examine you and tell you, okay, this is what is happening to you, or this is what this is the next step you should take. Then the doctors can now focus more on major issues that need physical attention.
Yeah.
Do you get? So not that headache is worrying you, or maybe you're forgetting things, and because of you're not so sure, you check Google and sorry to Google, but like you check the internet and maybe what you're seeing is dementia.
Exactly.
Because most of the time when you just have some symptoms and you
Google
mistakenly check the internet on those symptoms, you don't get the play, you don't get the lower
big
issues
stuff.
You just have to get the big stuff.
Big stuff.
So this is a very brilliant one. A very brilliant one. There are some people that their issues will not escalate into bigger issues if they are corrected quickly. Do you get?
Yeah.
If they are corrected quickly. So I think it's a very brilliant one.
One good thing I say about this particular innovation is that it's going to reduce, or at least it's a big step in reducing false information.
Yes.
In the mental health and psychological illness part, because if somebody just typing or just telling any random AI that I can't focus on this, and the pop-up is ADHD, and I'm like no, probably the person just needs to sleep. Like correctly diagnosing, examining the person. Like there's so like when ADHD, like the idea of ADHD blew up, that was last year. Everybody was diagnosing themselves with that psychological thing. And even a friend of mine was like, she thinks she has it, and I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't. You do not have patience. Not having patience does not mean that you have ADHD. Please. Like, I needed to show her a particular research video that said a whole lot of people, because of TikTok, a lot of people that come up on TikTok are giving false information about that particular conditions, and a lot of doctors that do not even know the field well are not helping matters because it's a trendy stuff. So just to come to talk about it, so having this kind of work done means that not just because I'm having issue concentrating, that does not mean I have ADHD. And just because I feel scared does not mean I have chronic anxiety. No, there's a difference between being afraid of the future for that particular moment and having chronic anxiety. All right, so that is it for all our news and stories that we have for you. So any parting word?
Okay, and thank you very much. So I would say that from everything that we've said and the different stories that we have reviewed, we can see that science is not the issue. It's us that choose, or either intentionally or unintentionally, we chose to misuse it, right? So because we can see a lot of time it's just taking things overboard that have made it detrimental to us.
Yeah.
So if we can checkmate things and the use of science, right? If we can checkmate it, if we can put a check to it, that's what I mean, then we would do a lot. Like, our world would be a better place for us to be, and a more safer place. Thank you.
Thank you. In my own, like, we can see that the health sector is moving, like we're moving far and we're moving fast. We are moving to save life, to make sure that we don't lose people in ways that could have been prevented.
Yeah.
And we are, like now, the Nobel Prize in Medicine, we are trying to solve or we're trying to find solution to problems that seem unsolvable, but science is pushing the boundaries. So that's today for our episode on the Unspoken podcast. Remember, we are celebrating the World Science Day for Peace and Development. This topic is building trust that's transforming wellness. So whether it's breaking the silence on tough topics or challenging the norms that shape our life and wellness, we are all in this together. So our conversation does not just end here. You can keep the conversation rolling. You can comment your own stories, your own experiences. Don't just let it die here. If you have questions, hit us up on all our platforms at the Fit Tribe Network. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe now.
Yeah, please subscribe.
Subscribe now.
It doesn't bite.
A big shout out to our partner, Hasey. They are the one that makes this whole thing possible. Right here in their studio. So we want to, personally, I want to give a shout out to Janet, our videographer. She has been amazing. She has been patient with us.
Thank you for sticking with us. Please subscribe, like, share.
Until next time,
Yeah.
just keep doing your best.